The Philadelphia 76ers, one of the biggest disappointments to start the year. And we are filming this after their Brooklyn win, but still drama. They're 3-12. They're now second last in the Eastern Conference. Luckily for them, they're just 5 wins away from just being a top 4 or 5 seed because they're in the Eastern Conference. But that being said, there's no reason why they should be 3-12 with the people they have on their team. Yes, injuries are a factor with Maxey, Embiid, George all being injured at some point. They only played 1 game together, which they ended up losing against the Memphis Grizzlies the other day. But 5-game losing streak.
Look, 3-12
before the win today.
3-12 is just egregious.
Yeah.
Right? Like
For a team like that.
3-12, what is that? 15. Like if you're like 6-9, understandable, injuries are a factor and all that stuff. That makes more sense. That kind of also shows your toughness of your team. 3-12, just no shot you have lesser wins than the Raptors. It just it makes zero sense. Looking at the Raptors
And a lot of the other teams,
right?
as well.
And a lot of other teams, obviously. But you are lucky that you are in the East and you're like 4 games behind a playoff spot. And overall, you can figure this. The moment you figure it out, you should be able to catch up and all that stuff. But like you said, it's just more than on-court play because from the beginning, from the get-go, it just felt like there's so much off-court drama.
Yeah.
Starting off with Embiid saying that I'm not going to play back.
Yeah, so with that, like even before that, like the Sixers as a front office did the right thing in the offseason, right? They brought in a Paul George to help alleviate some pressure. They brought in guys like they brought back Kyle Lowry for the leadership, but guys like Kelly Oubre are there. Eric Gordon is there, Caleb Martin, right? So to
solid
help,
role players, yeah.
Solid role players. Like this is arguably their most talented roster since 2019. Probably is this is their most talented roster since 2019. It's up for debate if they're head to head. Whoever wins that's a different story. But going back to this, off court, off the bat, what you said with Embiid saying that's just a bad message to send out to the public, to your fan base, to casual NBA fans, to even your coaching staff. Be like, hey, why are you saying this? Now other teams might are scheduled on a back-to-back are going to be like...
They just know what's going to happen.
They're going to know something similar that's going to happen.
It's not even that. It also came to a point where like the team got fined for violating the NBA player participation, bro. And very well deserved.
So that's for
and he got suspended for it.
And then that's issue number 1. Issue number 2, which is not fully Embiid's fault in this case.
That's
I didn't look too much at this situation, but from what I've seen, the reporter should not mention his family members in those posts, right? He took action. He got suspended 3 games. It did not matter too much because he was going to probably sit out those 3 games. But like at the end of the day, like that's another drama out there, right?
That one's a different story.
And the third one is after now he has been played a couple of games. There's that whole big meeting leak, meaning one of the players is snitching, one of the coaching staff members might be snitching, training staff, or medical staff, whoever in that building, in that locker room, is doing something because it has come out that Tyrese Maxey, as one of the young leaders on the team, is holding the biggest leader that should be the biggest leader on the team accountable for not trying to be, don't be a superstar. Essentially, like you don't have superstar privileges.
And here's the thing with all this, like when you're looking at Embiid on the court, superstar player, MVP level player, a man who could dominate any game, anytime.
He's a top 5 player, arguably in the NBA.
But the issue is he can dominate whenever he wants. There's just too much lollygagging going on with this. I know this guy lacks a lot of seriousness to him. Yeah. And I am very dumbfounded how this guy's been in the league for 10 years now, essentially. Maybe
he played 8. Yeah, he got injured.
But he's in the league for 10 years at the end of the day. And how you still how have you not figured out that you're a pro at the end of the day? One situation, like you just mentioned before, is that you showing up to that press conference saying that, whoever snitch is obviously a douchebag or a dickhead and just whatever
he
it is.
Wants to kick his ass.
Yeah, wants to kick his ass. This is a private thing. Why are you sharing it on the media in the first place? At the end of the day, like, there's no room for you to obviously say that I want to go after this guy.
While you've been sharing stuff.
Right? Like, this is a private within the buildings thing. It just makes no sense why you also bringing it up in the first place.
Yeah.
And number 2, why are you going after the snitch when you're the problem yourself, showing up late for meetings or missing meetings?
Yeah.
Right? That just makes
I get why
no
he's
sense.
mad at the leaks, because he like, listen, the report also said that him and Maxey have that relationship where okay, you're holding me accountable, great. So I see where he's coming from and go, why is it being leaked? I get that part of things. But then to the other point is like you're saying, I'm not gonna play back to backs. And you try to walk that back by saying, hey, I'm a troll.
They're just some things that you can't say to the media.
But-
That's just got to stay within the building
But going
because
back-
it just shows the character of your team.
You're in media
right?
hell as well.
Exactly. Like at the end of the day, it's gonna get blown out of proportion because
Yeah.
of where you are, and the fact that you haven't understood that makes zero sense for me. Because obviously you're out here coming saying that, oh, it's Joel Embiid, let's go blow it out of proportion, blah blah blah. I don't care anymore. But you're the one who's feeding it at the end of the day.
Yeah. So like I mean, his personality is there. Like you're saying exactly what they're saying. Like they just want a winner. Sixers have not been to the finals since Iverson.
Yeah.
Right? With Embiid's tenure, you've only been to the second round. Granted, we don't know what would have happened in 2019, but still, facts are facts.
They haven't made a conference final, right?
They have not made a conference finals
Yeah.
under him. You argued that you needed help with the Harden when you guys lost with the Harden a couple of years ago.
Game 7 to Boston. Yeah.
Yes, last year you got injured. I get what happened there, but at least now you got the help. The front office did everything that they can for you. You go and play for Team USA, nothing wrong with that. People have their opinions of why he chose Team USA, but
That's a different story,
That's a
yeah.
different story. But I'm saying like you went out, you represented the country you chose, played well there, but then come back, you're out of shape. Like him and Luka Doncic always have this issue of coming into this season a lot of
And then
out of shape.
and then you're complaining why you're injured all the time.
Yeah, and then so there's that. But going back to the court a little bit here. I want to talk about Paul George as well because this is not meant to be a whole Joel Embiid reg session. Paul George joined this
I
team.
mean, I could
We can, but
could
I'm
be
saying
fine
like
with
he's a
that.
big factor to it. But Paul George
Yeah.
is also a factor.
obviously.
Paul George unfortunately got hurt in the preseason as well, right? Hyperextended his knee and unfortunately hyperextended it once again in the Memphis game. But in between that period, when he made his debut about a couple of games into the year, he has not looked like the Paul George you expected Paul George to be when Embiid is out or when Maxey got hurt and was out because that's why he joined that team. That's why he said he joined that team because he could help the two building blocks there in Maxey and Embiid. He could help be the second guy or third guy, however you want to look at it. And then when they're out or sitting out, he could help dominate a game. For example, when Kawhi Leonard got hurt against the Utah Jazz, he was a big factor of why
Yeah.
they went to the conference finals that year.
Exactly, yeah.
Speaking of conference finals, I was the Clippers' first conference finals year. Isn't foreshadowing this. This could be arguably the same thing. So the fact that he like Embiid has just been talking, right? The play hasn't been the greatest when he's on the court. He's too busy complaining about why the Clipper fans were booing him when he called them out by saying that you guys are just a LA B team or whatever. Whether as a Lakers fan or any reasonable person knows that LA is in terms of basketball, Laker town, and sports is a Laker town. You should not be calling out your fan base that you played for, that you said you grew up being a Clipper fan. Now, either you're lying or not, but that's a whole different story. We're not going to
He's
get
a fan
to
of
that.
every team in the NBA.
Yeah.
the way my time this guy spoke.
Going back to it, you're making the Clippers look like a genius of why not to pay you and bring you back.
Yeah, but Clippers themselves, like handling business, they're doing well enough without. Harden's playing great basketball.
Yeah.
They're doing well enough without Kawhi Leonard, their obviously main superstar, who hopefully this guy could play a game again.
Yeah.
But overall, like the Clippers are doing, they're handling it like pros.
And then
They're
you're
do-
just
they're
out
doing
here
a job,
bitching
and
and
then
complaining.
exactly, and that just goes out to that's just a bad look for the whole entire team at the end of the day. Like I'm sure Nick Nurse doesn't want that image. I'm sure
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey, and I know Tyrese Maxey doesn't like that image either, and many other teammates who aren't like their superstar talents. Example, Embiid and Paul George, who are just all talk.
Can I ask you this one thing? We quickly just thought of it right now. I love NBA players having a platform, podcast,
Yeah,
whatever, to
that's
share
fair.
personal things and stuff like that. But how much of it is a problem during the year? Because
It is.
like you've seen Draymond Green in the past, especially say some shit like after a game or whatever, calling out Taylor Jenkins for being soft recently. You got this Paul George situation, but some people handle it well as well, like Danny Green, for example, when he was doing his.
Here's
And I
look,
get it.
If you want to like call out the drama in the NBA, that's all fine. But when it comes to a moment where you're not playing good yourself,
Exactly.
and you're recording
Yes.
videos, it's just not a really good
Yeah,
look.
that's the point.
That's
Yeah.
the issue. Like at the end of the day, like say you drop a video every Wednesday, whatever, and the first month you've been good, but the second month you've been struggling, but you're dropping a video every Wednesday. Like there's gonna be there's no surprise to me that the comments are like, yo, you're struggling right now. Why are you recording podcast videos?
That being said, last thing about Paul George, his legacy's on the line too. He left another team joining a team that needs to figure out their legacy, especially with Joel Embiid on the roster, and you're doing this stuff. So it's not the greatest look. But putting it all back together on the court, like I said earlier, they're talented roster since 2019.
Yeah.
All those role players complement each other well when they're on the court healthy. They're 3-12 as recording, and I said earlier that they were obviously Embiid was out for this Nets game. It was not a good look because you're already behind the 8 ball. You're lucky Jared McCain, who's one of your bright spots, Gershon Yabusele, who you picked up from the French national team and how he performed in the Olympics, and he's been playing amazing for them. I forgot to mention Andre Drummond is a really good backup to Embiid when he needs to get on the court as well. At least you have bright spots and they got you the win. But going forward, when you play good teams that are not the Nets, right, who were also a better team than you technically in the standings,
you're gonna need to play.
You need to play, right? Whether that be back-to-backs, whether that be other things. You can't do the management thing.
You need wins. Injury management works when you're obviously, a little bit ahead in the standings, where you are where you're supposed to be. The Sixers are not where they are supposed to be right now.
That being said, now you have Maxey back, right? Paul George is hurt. We'll see when he gets back. Embiid hopefully should be playing, for Sixers fans' sake, should be playing soon, right? For my prediction's sake. That's why we're talking about this, because it was one of my predictions to get to the final. Yeah. But like I said, Jared McCain is arguably Rookie of the Year right now. So he's propelled already. Whether the role
over Dalton Connect as a Laker fan.
Well, he's been more consistent for the most
That's
part.
fair,
Like this is a 7th straight 20-point game or whatever it was.
That's crazy.
Right?
That's actually crazy though.
He's in the conversation though. Dalton Connect is in the conversation. But no, going back to the thing, like they have talent across everywhere. They have leadership. They have a championship winning head coach. They need to put their egos aside and just focus on basketball. You already had way too much off-season drama. You've already had way too much podcast drama. You had way too much
and you had way too much injury issues
exactly
as well.
So to shut people up, to shut us up and not making a video like this, you guys need, and we're not even in Philly, like we don't care, we're just doing our jobs and thinking that this is a topic we need to talk about, and we're just putting it on the internet. That you guys, hey, if you guys want to be considered one of those contenders, or who I thought you guys are a contender and should be in the finals, just put up and just shut up off the court. Just go on the court, handle business, listen to your coaching staff, what they need to do, dominate the games like how Embiid did. Yes, I understand the people that are annoyed about his foul beating and all that. It's unfortunately part of the game. It's an unfortunate part of the game. You should blame the refs and the league more on that if you have to.
But it's simple as this. Be professionals and handle business. Best way you could put it. And because that's their biggest issue.
And you said it. They're in the Eastern Conference.
They're unprofessional and they're not handling business.
So that being said, to close it out, I think they'll turn it around. They're in the Eastern Conference. They're too talented not to, as long as they're on the court. And with Maxey, George, and Embiid, I feel like they should figure it out. And the complementary role players and a rookie step up in McCain, they should be able to at least get to a 4th seed as of this moment. But we don't know how much the Cavs might falter down the line, because they were on a hot streak to start the year.
They figure it out, and you're a playoff team. It's as simple as that.
As long as you get in in a rhythm and heading into the postseason, that's what matters. But we'll keep an eye out on this for sure. This was definitely a team we needed to look into, because 3-12, especially for a casual fan looking into this, casual fans looking into the standings.
Paul George, Joel Embiid,
and they're not doing well. Yeah, exactly right. Obviously, behind the scenes, we know they have some excuse with the injuries, but
some excuse, but not 3-12 excuse.
Exactly. But that being said, that's it from us. Philadelphia 76ers video. Make sure you guys check out our NBA overreactions for the first month of the season, because we talk about a couple of other teams as a broad whole. This was just a topic we needed to talk on its own because of that 3-12 record. If you guys are fans of the NFL, you guys are fans of the NHL, we've dropped a couple of videos for each. We drop them multiple times a week as well. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers, and hit the post notification bell so you guys don't miss a video. If you guys love sports, this is the perfect place to be. Follow our socials, link down below for any updates and some content that goes on our Instagram and TikTok as well. Other than that, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.